It's the largest and most notorious death camp ever built by the Nazis. Over 1 million Jews alone were exterminated here. Today it stands as a symbol of hate. This is Auschwitz. Dominique Walker's familiar with hate crime. In 2005, her brother Anthony was murdered during a racist attack in Liverpool. Now 4 years on, that hateful act has brought her here, to the gates that embody hate crime itself.
Basically why we're here is to get a further understanding of the Holocaust and the horrors that racism and hate can bring.
How are you preparing yourself for this experience?
Well, this journey is going to be a tough one. It's personal. Millions of people were lost here, and I've lost only my brother.
Auschwitz opened in 1941. By the end of the war, it was the key place for the Nazis' final solution. The horrors endured here will never be forgotten. The images forever etched into history. Feelings Dominique finds all too familiar.
The loss of life is just, it's too much. With Anthony, compared to this is worse.
But Dominique isn't here alone. In the wake of Anthony's death, a special foundation was set up in his memory, designed to spread a message of peace. 21 of its members, all young people, many affected by hate crime themselves, have come to bear witness.
I've just been thinking about how can anyone be so evil? How does racism start?
To come and see something like this illustrates, to the extent of what, racism, discrimination just can actually do.
This is the last remaining gas chamber at Auschwitz. This room would have been filled with terrified, naked people, then pumped full of gas until they were all dead. This happened over and over every single day. From executions to horrendous medical experiments, the Nazi regime viewed Jews as subhuman. Nearly 65 years since the end of the Holocaust, Anthony's murder is a painful reminder to Dominique that attitudes regarding race still need to change.
I only lost my brother. People from all over Europe, they've lost generations.
What has today meant to you?
This is the things you've got to see, These are the things that you and everybody that with us have got to understand, that this is the extent of what it can go to.
Dominique still leaves Auschwitz with the pain of her loss, but she takes with her a fresh determination to stamp out race crime. And that's a battle she says she's determined to win. Mark Tattersall, Granada reports, Auschwitz. Of all the stories spawned during the Second World War, Oskar Schindler's is amongst the most famous. His factory in Krakow lies an hour from Auschwitz. Here, he saved the lives of hundreds of Jews destined for gas chambers.
I think he's a truly inspirational man. He's got dignity and he just stands up for what he believes in.
Sam Gorst grew up around racism in Liverpool. Now he fights it as part of the Anthony Walker Foundation. If Anthony Walker's murder echoes Nazi racial hatred, Oskar Schindler's defiance provides inspiration for these young people.
I'm compassionate about equality, diversity and to stamp out racism back home in Liverpool. Oskar Schindler was a good example of that because he changed and he saved people's lives in the process.
This is the office from where Oskar Schindler gave people hope. That same hope is being brought by the Anthony Walker Foundation as they battle to eradicate hate crime.
Anthony was murdered because of the colour of his skin. And what we don't want in our city or anywhere in our country is young people being murdered as a result of the colour of the skin. So the main focus is about bringing young people together, getting them to talk about some of these issues, and also getting them to tackle racism wherever it rears its head in our city.
This former ghetto was where the Nazis moved Jews en masse and by force.
We're standing in the Heroes of the Ghetto Square as Nazis moved the Jewish populations to nearby concentration camp, and those who were useless for their purposes were murdered on this square.
Eventually, most were sent to their death, just a short train ride away.
A thing that I'm taking away from this trip is the nature of hatred and ideology and the way it can lead naive people astray.
Pete Downey turned his life around after expulsion took him out of school for 3 years. Now with the Walker Foundation, he wants to turn attitudes around.
The Anthony Walker Foundation will try and reach schools, children, youth clubs and different young people on the streets of Liverpool and Merseyside and try and break down all these ideologies, make young people understand and comprehend how these ideologies manifest themselves.
Throughout this emotional trip, the death of Anthony Walker has never left his sister's mind. These places will never move on from their tragic past, just as Dominique can't escape hers. How has this trip changed your view of what happened to your brother?
I think this trip has made me have a bit of a better understanding of the value of human life, and obviously that's something that we'll take away and possibly use as part of our school programme and the work that we do. I'm only one person, but it only does take one.
Dominique and the Anthony Walker Foundation aren't here by choice. They say it's necessity that drives them. A brave group of young people who simply say no more to hate crime. Now they take what they've learnt here back to Liverpool. Mark Tattersall, Granada reports in Krakow, Poland.